and they have to do more testing. We don't want to scare anybody. All you have to do is go in Mead and try to walk your dog and see what happens. You're going to be surrounded and overwhelmed by the stink of rotting corn that just happens to be coated in toxic materials. Welcome to Nebraska. It's not for everyone. And yesterday we touched on this really important topic, which is just super duper fascinating. Judaism and abortion. Now, this was constructed by the National Council of Jewish Women, which I think is absolutely the right place to get this information. And there's this feeling among abortion rights advocates that if the Supreme Court or the state of Texas says that abortion is unconstitutional, that there are ways to force it into being allowed by basing that argument on religious freedom. Specifically, Judaism, which has been around for thousands of years. It can't be said, oh, this is political intent that goes back 50 years to support Roe v. Wade and if you want standing, if you want stare decisis, look to the Jews to ride in and save the day. At least that's what a lot of abortion advocates, choice people are saying. Well, here is a little one page that is very succinctly written. Now, how is this possible? Our friend El Beyonce returns. Has not been here for many weeks. And El Beyonce does have this thing for wanting me to suck on the balloons and speak in a helium voice. And I have very kindly been unable to do the helium voice for El Beyonce too. And then after the birthday, the balloons disappeared. And El Beyonce never came back. The one day, the day that the new balloons appear, celebrating 34 years of marriage, that's coming next month. But we bought them early because in New York City you have to buy when it's there, not when it's later, because it won't be there. El Beyonce, too, has such a third eye for determining the where, when, but not always the why, when I have helium balloons. Now that is a talent that deserves admiration. These balloons have only been shown here for about an hour, and El Beyonce is already on us, holding back the request to ask me to inhale the helium and speak in a high voice. That is the most amazing thing. And if I were just a little bit smarter, I would have extra balloons around here filled with helium so I could do a funny voice for El Beyonce too. And then El Beyonce might come back every day for a little helium fun. But I'm just not that smart. And I can't touch these or I will be threatened, let's say, by the person who bought them. That's $34 worth of balloons behind you. So, hey, back to Judaism and abortion. I spent yesterday afternoon just reading up on this a little bit, and I have several different sources to share with you, but this was the most convincing in the least amount of space. They know how to be succinct, they know how to put out a press release, and they know how to be convincing. And here are the questions and the answers. Does Jewish law state that life begins at conception, which is exactly what the anti-abortion people say? The second the sperm meets the egg, life. Right there, person. Now, not a tax deduction, not child support, but still life. And the answer from the Jews is no, life does not begin at conception under Jewish law. Sources in the Talmud note that the fetus is mere water before 40 days of gestation. Following this period, the fetus is considered a physical part of the pregnant individual's body. Now, they could have said woman, but I guess they wanted to be careful. For the pregnant individual's body not yet having life of its own or independent rights, which is all absolutely true. At the second of conception, there's nothing that can live outside the person. The fetus is not viewed as separate from the parent's body until birth begins, and the first breath of oxygen into the lungs allows the soul to enter the body. Now, that's what I believe and how I understand it, but who am I? I'm a big nobody bohunk from the Midwest. Nebraska, it's not for everybody. And Winsley Gomez, who is a writer for us on bolesblogs.com, we had conversations many times about the meaning of life and death. And a person who we spoke about the other day from India could not stand this guy. I thought he was very interesting. And he said the historical, not necessarily talking about this, but the historical idea of life under any topic is breath. El Beyonce 2 is back, but I have it for real. I have a third eye. I can see people who are not alive and say things that happen years or months after that. Sorry if I said something wrong. You're absolutely right. I appreciate that. There are very talented people out there. There is something inside of you that brought you here today to comment on the balloons, because you really don't comment on anything other than balloons. And if you're stopping by and slipping in and out just to see if there are balloons, I accept that. And then you see a balloon and you comment. Very fair. Back to Jews and abortion. Does Jewish law assert that it is possible to murder a fetus? Wow, now that is a very power-packed question, because that is what the pro-life people say. It's murder. Abortion is murder. I grew up with people in my high school, women, who said abortion is murder. I made the mistake of saying in a meeting one time, well, I'm pro-abortion. And everyone gasped on both sides of the audience. El Beyonce 2 says, hey, I think I'm going to be the balloon guy from Disneyland. Ha ha ha. Now be very careful, because we already have a competitor for you. His name is Gordon. We do call him Commissioner Gordon from Batman. He lives in Florida, and he's very, very close to Disney. You might have a fight if you're looking for a Disney badge or some kind of recognition from this live stream broadcast. There will be a defense of balloons, I have a feeling. So get ready. Hey, Commissioner Gordon, weighing in. World, mind you, not land. I always get that confused. Disneyland is California, and very small, but the original one. The world is located in Florida. So I guess you could split it. One is the balloon master of Disneyland, the other is the overlord of balloons at Disney World. I accept the tie. And in this meeting, I happened to say that, hey, I'm pro-abortion. And the anti-abortion people were disgusted with me. And the pro-choice people said, no, David, no, you're not pro-abortion. None of us are pro-abortion. I said, we're not, it's not pro-abortion. We're pro-choice. Oh, okay. But you're for abortion. No, it's not pro-abortion. We're pro-choice. You can go either way. Have the baby, not have the baby. It's not abortion. El Beyonce says, I'm ready. Well, maybe there has been a challenge thrown down. Maybe El Beyonce is going for Balloon Master of Land and World. Oh, now that would be an interesting fight. Is it possible to murder a fetus? No. Jewish law does not consider a fetus to be alive. The Torah, Exodus 21, 22 through 23. No land is in Paris. Oh, now that's interesting. I don't know what's in Paris. I'm not the Disney expert here. I think this is going to have to be a street fight between you and the commissioner because I don't know anything about it. I am from Nebraska, and I think I've been to Disneyland once. And I barely remember it, and I think I was 7 years old. I think that the Paris one is called Disney International. I have no idea. Exodus recounts the story of two men who are fighting and injure a pregnant woman, resulting in her subsequent miscarriage. The verse explains that if the only harm done is the miscarriage, then the perpetrator must pay a fine. However, if the pregnant person is gravely injured, the penalty shall be a life for a life, as in other homicides. Wait, I think I'm a helium balloon loner. I think everyone who has ever been a part of this live stream agrees with you. The common rabbinical interpretation of this verse is that the men did not commit murder and that the fetus is not a person. The primary concern is the well-being of the person who was injured. I love that. Hey, Commissioner says Malka loves her helium balloons. That's my 8-year-old daughter. Thank you, Commissioner. Now back to Jews and abortion. According to Jewish law, is abortion health care? And the answer is yes. Jewish sources explicitly state that abortion is not only permitted, but is required should the pregnancy endanger the life or health of the pregnant individual. Furthermore, health is commonly interpreted to encompass psychological health as well as physical health. Advocates for abortion access as an essential component of comprehensive, affordable, confidential, equitable family planning, reproductive sexual health, and maternal health services. Fabulous. It's common sense. What does Jewish law say about the rights of the person who's pregnant and the rights of the fetus? Judaism values life and affirms that protecting existing life is paramount at all stages of pregnancy. A fetus is not considered a person under Jewish law and therefore does not have the same rights as one who is already alive, which makes complete and total sense. There are no wands going into vaginas in the Jewish world looking for a heartbeat. As such, the interests of the pregnant individual always come before that of the fetus. Now, those are going to be fighting words, and there are going to be a lot of fights about this. And there's only going to be one winner, and it's going to be Judaism. How can it not be? I guess that's why people are not really too freaking out, because they have a plan. Finally, do abortion bans unduly favor one religious viewpoint over another? Ho, 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 ho. Nobody is holding back in this one page. Answer: yes. Different religions believe that human life begins at different stages of development. Science can explain developmental timelines, but philosophic and religious viewpoints largely determine what exactly defines life or personhood for each individual. We believe, as the First Amendment to the Constitution guarantees, that no one religion should be enshrined in law or dictate public policy on any issue, including abortion. And bing bang, boink. There you have it. That's going to be the whole argument. And what's the Supreme Court going to say and do about it? What are they going to do? Because the Jews will say, we've been doing this thousands of years, never had a problem, everything's fine. And now what are you saying? We can't do that anymore? You're going to infringe on our religious freedom? Ho, 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 look out, baby. It's going to be a good one. Here's another one. Interesting. Abortion in Judaism. Another very Pew Research. Is Judaism pro-choice or pro-life? Same thing. Explicit exceptions for threats to a mother life. And rabbinic support for terminating a pregnancy as a host of other situations. There's nonetheless broad objection to abortion in cases without serious cause. And that's fine. It's between a woman and the rest of her body. And here we go. This is setting the stage. Florida's new abortion law violates religious freedom. A new lawsuit from a synagogue says it's starting. A new Florida law prohibiting abortion after 15 weeks, with some exceptions, violates, here we go, religious freedom rights of Jews, in addition to the state constitution's privacy protections, a synagogue claims in a lawsuit. It's going to be wild. Here we go. Here's the argument. As such, the act prohibits Jewish women from practicing their faith of free government intrusion. And this violates their privacy rights and religious freedom. Now, what's Ron DeSantis going to say? Because he's all about, you don't tell me what to do, Joe Biden. If I don't want to vax children under 5, you can't make me because I'm Ron DeSantis. Well, Ron, what are you going to do when Jewish women are saying you're violating me and my body? Oh, I know what's right. Oh, it's going to be so good. And Ron DeSantis is going to be eaten alive by hypocrisy. From the National Library of Medicine, a very well-respected, important governmental institution, Jewish views on abortion. Here's the abstract. You can research it yourself. It's all there for you, for the taking. Here is another wonderful article that I found from the Interfaith Council, Reproductive Choices, a Reformed Jewish Perspective on Abortion and what it means to the rest of us. And we're all in this together. And I don't know how we're going to work it out. When I was younger, abortion was the law of the land, and if there was a problem with the pregnancy, it was between her and her family and her doctor. There was no government intervention. And if it was a religious issue, the woman took care of it with her religious advisors. Some people went one way, some people went the other way. And now we're taking a very brief break. Maybe a balloon break, who knows? We should be so lucky. I will return in a moment.